Welcome back, everybody, to the Fretboard Journal podcast. I'm your host, Jason Verlinde. As always, that's John Rauhaus playing in the background. Before we get into it, I just want to thank our sponsors. They are, of course, Peghead Nation, one of my favorite online instruction portals around. You can learn how to be a better guitarist, mandolin player, or banjo player at your own pace with some of the greatest instructors I know of, including many folks who've been featured in our magazine or on this very podcast. So go to Peghead Nation, use the discount code Fretboard when you check out. You'll get your first month free. We are also brought to you by Mike and Mike's Guitar Bar right here in Seattle, Washington, an incredible store filled with vintage and collectible electrics and synths and acoustics and you name it. They also have an incredible repair shop. Last but not least, our Fretboard Summit is coming up pretty quickly. So if you want to register, please join us in Chicago, August 20th to 22nd for 3 days of guitar geekdom, guitar fun, community building. This is really a special event. The only place in the world I can think of where you can get the full experience of meeting your gear heroes outside of NAMM, where you can go try out literally probably around 1,000 new and custom-made guitars. I would say under one roof, but we actually take over 2 buildings. So there are 2 roofs, technically. The Old Town School of Folk Music campus in Chicago is just that big. We also have 3 nights of concerts, and on Saturday night at the Summit, we're having kind of a different format. I'm bringing out some of my favorite players, including folks who've been on this podcast, like Shane Parrish and Jonathan Stout, and we are going to just have a hootenanny, not open to the public, just for all access attendees. And it's going to be super fun. We're going to do things our way. It's going to be 400 and something of us just geeking out on guitars. It's going to be really cool. So go to fretboardsummit.org, register if you haven't yet. There's still a ton of lodging in Chicago. So there's a ton of hotels and Airbnbs and all that good stuff. All right. So the task at hand. Earlier this week, Glen Hansard of the Frames and the Swell season passed away. Glen was somebody who I deeply admired. I probably have seen him play in different incarnations a dozen times over the years. An incredible singer-songwriter, an incredible person. As portrayed in the movie Once, he busked for a good chunk of his career. And that gave him this charisma, this magnetism that just was infectious. And if you only heard his studio recordings, unfortunately, you didn't get the full experience. He was one of the greatest live performers I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of shows, and he would make an audience an instrument unto themselves, whether he was playing at a pub or whether he's playing in a giant theater. He had an ability to really work a crowd. Everybody has seen their favorite artist have the crowd sing along to one of their popular tunes. Glen took it up a notch and actually would transform songs and make this sort of angelic, church-like vibe around some of his compositions. And it was incredibly moving. It actually added to the song and it made everybody feel really, really included. I'm going to miss Glen. He passed away in a motorcycle accident in Dublin, oddly, 60 years to the day after Bob Dylan had his motorcycle accident. That's kind of a weird factoid. I interviewed him for the magazine in 2009. It was the only time I've actually met him. The issue that we were talking for was the 17th issue of the magazine, which came out in 2010. We were going back a long, long ways. I did the interview at Kells, an Irish pub right near Seattle's Pike Place Market. I had a photographer with me, Max, and we did this interview in this loud, crowded restaurant. We got interrupted. We ordered food. We ordered drinks. And I didn't know how else to pay tribute to Glen, so I'm going to share with you a big chunk of the interview that ended up being the Fretboard Journal 17 cover story. This was not supposed to be a podcast. I don't think we were thinking about podcasts back then. The audio levels are all off. There's noise. You are just going to be a fly in the wall for our conversation that led to all the things that appeared in the magazine article. And the magazine article is online right now if you go to fretboardjournal.com and would rather read it. I just want to say Glen was, as a music journalist, utter delight. You could prompt him with a question and you would get a 10-minute long story. It made my life incredibly easy. The story that ran in Fretboard Journal 17 was literally just Glen telling stories. But they're really, really good stories about meeting Bob Dylan and Van Morrison, and the story of his Takamine that was so beat up, like Willie Nelson's Trigger, just through years and years of playing it. Glen thought of guitars as tools. He was not precious at all about that. You'll hear that as well in this conversation. But man, what an incredible musician, what an incredible talent. I think it's a testament to how unique he was that I've read tributes from everyone from Bruce Springsteen and Bono to traditional musicians to Nels Cline, who I guess was going to be on his next record, and Sam Amidon and pro surfer Kelly Slater, and who knows how many dignitaries. This guy had such a wide impact on people. He just was that good of a performer, and I hope a whole bunch of you were able to see him when he was around. I'm just going to share this interview. It's from Kells in Seattle, Washington. It's old. I had a Zoom recorder between the two of us. Unfortunately, it's more on me than on him. I tried to do my best to reduce the noise. If anybody wants to dive into it, I hope you enjoy it. There are obviously tons of interviews and podcasts with Glen floating around and great videos on YouTube. But this is my contribution to the canon, I guess. And I can't thank you enough. And I will also add, at the Fretboard Summit, we are going to have a little ceremonial raising of the glass to Glen on, I believe, Thursday night at around 11 p.m. So if anybody comes to the summit, you'll hear all about it on opening day. But it's the least we could do. He's one of those musicians I always thought would come to our event or we'd get in the magazine again. He died way, way, way too soon. Here is my chat with Glen from a long, long time ago. I hope you enjoy it.
Nice one.
Good luck.
Thanks.
What are you doing here in Seattle?
We played a little thing at the Triple Door earlier on, just for the radio. We're just here doing a few interviews.
Oh, okay, good
and
for
then
you.
we come back here November 20-something to play at the Paramount.
Yeah, they have a new album out in a week? No.
Yeah, in a week.
They have a new Swell season.
What is your band? I only know you from the film.
Right, well, it's the Swell season, which is basically me and Mar.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
You two. Oh, really?
Yeah, you'll probably spot her. She's out in the market there somewhere. But we've a record, another record coming out.
Oh, you too. Yeah. Oh, good. I'll look for it.
Great.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Sure.
Good luck.
Bye. Take it easy.
So it had some fatal accidents, near fatal.
Not necessarily accidents, but so much as it got a few knocks. See, it's been played by many different people. I mean, I'm not very precious. I'm a big believer in that your instrument's a tool.
Yeah.
It's no more. It shouldn't be anymore.
Yeah.
You know, objects. You know, this idea that if we identify too strongly with objects,
yeah.
I think we can get into an area where we get very precious. Now, having said that, I've had this thing for so long, and it was always my workhorse. It was never my It was never my baby or my number one guitar or whatever. I've got a few guitars.
Yeah.
But there's always two I use. One electric, which is a Fender thin line Telecaster, and this guitar. And I just use them both because they're like an old pair of shoes. They work. Yeah. They're the most comfortable, and they sound the best plugged in. But where it became precious was when we made once, because then I noticed that other people were paying attention to the guitar. And so, you know, people were saying, "Oh, so that guitar you play in the film, is that the guitar you're playing on the tour?" It's like, or is that the same guitar? It's like, yeah, of course it is. It's my guitar. But and because it's gotten so delicate now, because the top of it is really in a pretty awful state. Yeah. I realised that I've got a year or two, maybe three left in it, in terms of its structure. Yeah. Now, having said that, luthiers are pretty good at fixing stuff up. So who knows? I might have it for years. And years. But I've become a little more precious. But I bought this case for it. And now, I used to just check it in, and whenever I go on a flight, I just check it in, whatever case it was in. And nowadays, I've gotten a lot more, you know what, can I bring it on the plane, and I'll fight to try to get it on the plane with me, and sometimes I'll even buy a ticket to put it next to me. Really? And I never thought I was that guy. I never thought, because you meet some people and they're like, this is my 1928 D17.
I meet those people all the time.
Yeah, and I buy plane seats. They treat it better than they treat themselves. Yeah. And I don't believe in this stuff. I believe the guitar is a tool. It's an object. It's a piece of wood. It's a beautiful piece of wood. Sure. But when it goes out of your life, it's gone. Yeah. And you get another one and you work with that tool. Like a carpenter, you've got your chisels and your saw, and you take care of your instruments, but don't treat them beyond their value. Yeah. And so, it's funny, one night, I remember in Austria about 5 years ago, very drunk, I came out after a gig, played a really good gig with my friend Mick Christopher, the two of us. And we came out afterwards and I put the guitars down on the street, my electric guitar, my acoustic guitar, this one, put them on the street, got straight into a taxi, went to another part of town, somewhere outside Vienna, like to this party, myself and him drunk, you know. And then when it came time to sing a few songs at the party, which was like 2 or 3 hours later,
sure.
I'm looking for my guitar and it's not there. And I panicked, I turned white.
Yeah.
I ran back to the venue. And amazingly, this guitar was still sitting there. There was kids going to school. Because it was like, you know, it was like late at night when we left the place. There was kids going to school stepping over the guitar.
Wow.
It was there on the street, just knocked it. And my electric guitar was gone.
Okay.
I picked it up and took it. And I freaked out because I'd had that guitar. The electric guitar I had was the guitar I had since I was 15. So it's much older in my life. I've had it for so long. And, but the electric guitar showed up 2 weeks later, standing against the venue wall. And the venue owner came in to work one morning, found it, brought it into the place, rang me. Your guitar just showed up, completely untouched, still in tune. So someone had picked it up, you know, heard that this guy had lost it and basically felt guilty and brought it back. So I was very, very lucky, you know.
Yeah.
So this guitar has left me a few times. I've lost it a few times on flights as well.
There's a lot of
Thank you. No, it's come and gone, you know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And who else has played it?
Thank you.
And I guess we'll be ready.
Sure.
Thanks a million. Gosh, who else has played it? That's a good question. Well, I guess of the people that I know, I mean, geez, in Ireland, you know, so many people. Frank Black from the Pixies has played it. Who else has played it? Paul Brady has played it.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Ritter has played it. Damien Rice has played it. Who else that we would know?
Do they all have the same attachment you do to it? Do they all think the sound is great? And
yeah, I mean, but then again, it's you know, I think for other people, this guitar might just be a bit of a plank.
Yeah.
You know, it might just be not what. But for me, it's exactly what I need.
Yeah.
You know, for them, I don't know. For them, I you know, people have said, you know, I like your guitar, or whatever. But you know, it's like you know, 1,000 people have played that guitar because if we're at a session and someone wants to sing a song, I just hand it over. I don't think about. You know, that's my bit. Maybe they'll break it, or you know. And sometimes people do treat it more rough than I'd like them to, but that's all part of owning an instrument. That's what it's for.
Yeah. Did you put a pickup in it?
No, the pickup I haven't changed a thing.
You haven't changed it,
and it's all still working. I've changed a few batteries. That's all I've done.
So, at one of your shows, you told the story about the president of Takamine.
Oh yeah,
you got to tell me that story again.
Well, I don't want to get myself into trouble here, but they had, and he's very kind guy, very very sweet. He had come to see us in Japan, myself and Mara were over there, and I think he had heard about the instrument and had seen the film. Mm-hmm. And he came with this amazing, like super top of the range, beautiful, brand new Takamine. Mm-hmm. To present to me, and they presented it to me like on stage, so I didn't really know what was going on. They're like, now we have some special, Glenn, we have someone special to meet you, and it was like the guy, you know, Mr. Takamine comes on stage, old guy, hands me this amazing guitar, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so great, thank you, you know, and I'm blown away, and I played the guitar, and it's a beautiful guitar. But then later on, one of his, one of the people that were with him said, like, you know, we're so glad that you're going to play this guitar now, because Mr. Takamine was a little bit upset that, you know, that you were playing this guitar publicly because, you know, it shows that their craftsmanship wasn't up to scratch because the guitar is so damaged, you know. And I was like, hang on, whoa, hang on. They're giving me this guitar because they don't want me to play Marble. And I gave them the guitar back. I sort of said to them, I said, listen, I really appreciate it. Thank you. I don't want to take something from you. I'm never going to stop playing my guitar.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't hand it back in any ungrateful way. I said, to be honest, and I'm being straight here, the model of guitar it was a cutaway, and I don't like cutaways. Whenever I play, guitars should be, I've got a pretty clear aesthetic about how guitars should look.
Yeah.
They should look like guitars.
Yeah.
As in, there shouldn't be that little cutaway for like metal guitar players who decide to play acoustic and get up there high. Now, I understand that there's logic to that, but I don't like those guitars.
Sure.
And it was one of them. So I said, listen, I'll hand it back to you. And he said to me, oh, no, that's no problem. But let me make you a duplicate of your guitar. And I said, well, look, rather than making me a duplicate, which I wouldn't want, just make me that sick, because you can't buy the it's NP15, NP17 model. You can't get it anymore. You can't find them online. No one seems to. I had one time and I gave it to Josh Ritter. And Josh Ritter's gone through it the same way my own. See, whatever wood they were made of was just, it's like really cheap wood. Or no, it's cedar, but it was very soft.
Yeah.
And so they made me a version of this guitar that they gave to me a few months ago.
Okay.
Which is a newer version.
Okay.
Now it doesn't sound anything like
this one.
Unfortunately, it doesn't sound anything, because they put all the new system.
Yeah.
Whatever system they've got going nowadays, they put the new system in. It doesn't sound anything like it, but it's still a beautiful guitar.
Yeah.
But I guess what it's made me realize is that there is no second guitar for me. There is no such thing as, take another guitar. Because I do take a second acoustic guitar on the road with me, but I never ever use it.
What is that? What kind of guitar?
It's the same.
It's
basically the similar. Yeah, the Japanese one they gave me. The Takamine they gave me, the new one. But I never ever use it, ever. Because if I break a string, I'd rather Mar sing a song or I'll play electric. Because it's just, it's not suspicion. It's not out of any real loyalty. It's just that's the instrument I prefer playing.
Yeah.
And,
it's your trigger.
Yeah, and then they did talk about the possibility of at some point doing a limited run of copies. They wanted to copy.
The scratches.
Yeah, which is so funny. And we're living in an age where that kind of stuff is acceptable. This idea of pre-worn.
Yeah.
But the idea that they would make a version of my guitar with the holes, very funny. But a few months ago, a guy contacted me via email about fixing my guitar. I really wasn't sure how I felt about it. We were in LA, myself and Matt were in LA doing press for something. We were doing press, and he lives like an hour's drive south, and we went down and we visited him. And he asked me to leave the guitar with him for a couple of days, because he just wanted to observe inside it. He's a luthier. And he asked me how I felt about him reinforcing the part where it's all damaged. And I took a risk and I left it with him. I came back a couple of days later, and he had done this kind of amazing job where he had basically put a very thin layer of wood underneath the holes, which basically means that the holes may not grow anymore.
Yeah.
But he didn't change the aesthetic at all, and he didn't put he wanted to put lacquer, some kind of like some sort of resin on the holes, which would have made the wood darker, which would have made the structure of which would have meant I wouldn't have wore the guitar down anymore.
Yeah.
But I didn't let him do that, because I think there's something very natural about the way the thing is.
Yeah.
I didn't want to change anything, but the reinforcing inside I was very happy with.
Okay.
And he did that, and I'll show it to you later on.
Sure.
He did an amazing job.
Who was it?
I can't think of his name.
Okay.
It's terrible. Gosh. I should remember his name, shouldn't I? Because he did the job.
He's in San Diego. No, he's between LA and San Diego.
Yeah, he's in like... If you contact Howard, our manager, he'll be able to tell you his name, because it would have been in his records.
Is it on the coastline?
Yeah, on the coast. It was by the beach.
Young guy?
Young, yeah, sort of 35, 40.
Andy? Is that his name?
Andy
Powers?
No, it wasn't Andy Powers.
Okay.
It wasn't Andy Powers. What struck me weird about this guy was, we went down to his house, and here's me thinking, here's a luthier. Go down and see his guitars. We got into his garage where he works on his guitars, and there was no instruments. It was just a couple of tools. Yeah. I felt very weird about it. I was like, should I? And Mar was amazing. She said to him, because I was kind of weird about it, but I wasn't saying that to Mar. And Mar just turned to him and said, if you fuck up that guitar, I will kill you. And she just let him, she just said it to him straight out. I remember thinking, fair play to her. She really had my back, But he didn't. He did a great job. And the guitar has felt a lot more solid since then.
Yeah.
It's still deteriorating at its own pace, but it feels a lot more like I'm a lot less precious about it since then.
Yeah.
It was funny, through all the exciting ups and downs of what the last few years have been for me.
Yeah.
I've managed to meet some people that have really, to get closer to people who I really admire. One of them being Springsteen. And I got to sit with his guitar tech and his guitars for a while. And it's amazing how his collection of instruments.
Oh yeah, eat up.
Beautiful guitars, but kind of smashed around and interesting because it definitely does. The Seeger sessions instruments he was using look amazing. But anyway, so his guitars are mashed.
So, first guitar. What? When did you start playing?
My very first guitar was my uncle. When I was a kid, my uncle was like, my Uncle Paul was like this super cool. He was the guy in the family, the good-looking brother of my mother, younger brother. All the girls loved him. He worked in a theatre and he played music in bars. He was kind of like my childhood hero. He's like, he just looked great. And he brought me to my first concert, Greece, 1980. Where U2 opened up for them, and U2 were great.
Yeah,
they were all we talked about later on. But he unfortunately took a job where he drove a car across Europe for some dodgy guys, and it turned out that the car had stuff in it that shouldn't have been in it.
Sure.
Classic story. He got locked up for a couple of years in prison in Turkey.
Wow.
Yeah, which is shit.
Not where you want to go to prison.
Exactly. And his guitar got left in our house, and his car, and all of his stuff basically got left in our house. And I discovered the guitar. He had taught me A and D chords when I was about 8 years old. And his instrument was, if I remember correctly, I want to say it was a hummingbird. It was like, the classic Gibson hummingbird.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a Gibson.
Okay.
I think it might have been like an Ibanez or
knockoff.
Some knockoff copy. It was a beautiful guitar. He adored it.
Yeah.
But I discovered it and learned some Bob Dylan songs on it. First song I ever picked up off Dylan was Feel Laurie, Need Edward. I think it's Bob Dylan's Dream. I think it's Bob Dylan's Dream. It's off the first record.
Yeah.
And I remember getting a harmonica and picking up the chords. It was A and D and G. And
self-taught.
Self-taught, yeah. Got the first few chords off my uncle and then learned the rest from listening to records.
Yeah.
And then I did something very ambitious. I listened to Famous Blue Raincoat by Leonard Cohen over and over and over and over until I figured out how to play it.
Wow.
Which is a finger-picking song.
Yeah.
I was going in pretty deep. Finger-picking song.
This was the second song you learned.
Yeah. Amazingly, I took on this challenge and figured it out. And I found out recently I saw Leonard play in Sydney, Australia, like a year ago, and I watched his hands, and I was only wrong by 2 chords. There's 2 chords in the abridgment that he does that I got wrong.
Yeah.
But the rest I got right.
Nice.
B minor, G, E minor, F sharp minor. These are bar chords as well.
Yeah.
But I figured it out. That was the beginning. Pretty soon after that, I started busking.
Yeah. With your uncle's guitar?
No. With a guitar that was got from me. My father and my mother, great people. My uncle freaked out when he got out of prison. Freaked out because I knocked his guitar around. I didn't realise.
Yeah.
I was dragging it across the floor and, doing all the things you don't do to a guitar. So when he got out, his guitar was messed up. It wasn't bad. It wasn't broken.
Yeah.
But give a kid a nice instrument,
Yeah.
there's going to be marks all over it, you know?
Yeah.
There wasn't any chumps on about rapping, but I damaged him, and he freaked.
You were 10 years old or something.
I was. When he got out of prison, I was 11. Maybe.
11, okay.
And he fucking freaked.
Yeah.
Because I corrected it.
Yeah.
And it's only now I can appreciate that. But at the
Yeah.
time, I was like, what is he giving out to me for? I didn't understand.
He just got out of a Turkish prison. Come on.
But then he took me into his band. He had this kind of like, he had a band with my other uncle who sang backing vocals and played tambourine. And he took me into his band when I was about 14. And I played 7 nights a week in bars in Dublin. Kid, I was too young to be in the bars. But I learned how to play all these great songs, you know, Beach Boys songs, Hank Williams songs, Simon Garfunkel. It was a real education for me, you know. It was like learning those. Like, and I was playing a Yamaha.
Yeah.
My first guitar I ever owned was a Yamaha. Absolutely brilliant guitar. Brilliant. And I busted with that for like my first 4 years being a busker. And then I got the Takamine.
What tips would you have for a busker today? What works? What doesn't work?
On the street?
Yeah.
Well, of course, volume. Any songs that are up and loud work. Songs that are super quiet. You know, I'm not being a purist, but I don't entirely agree with the idea. Have you still got my guitar?
He does. Yeah.
No, is he still there?
Yeah, he's got to be.
Maybe just took off.
He's a trustworthy guy.
What was I saying?
Busking. You're not a purist.
I'm not a purist, but there's something about guys who, you know, use the microphone and the amplifier. So I just kind of find it a little bit. It's a bit like not that they're cheating, but that's like they're not going to learn as much doing it that way as they will by having to project raw.
Yeah.
That was the biggest lesson I learned.
Yeah.
Was projecting raw. I remember listening to Before the Flood, a Bob Dylan record, where Dylan sings like, you know, just like a woman, but he's like lashing it out.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember making it my goal to be able to sing like that.
Yeah.
And on Grafton Street, it's just, you know, it's like any street. Learning how to project your voice to the point where it bounces back at you was the goal.
Yeah.
And it was all about learning how to play loud and fast and kind of get playing. And in that way, I noticed you made more money.
What was your most lucrative night or day?
Oh, I can't say. Because I wasn't busking alone for that long, maybe a couple of years. It was the most lucrative. I can tell you the most lucrative day of the week was always Friday and Saturday night, when everyone was drunk. And coming out of the pubs. But that also meant you were going to face a lot of madness as well.
Yeah.
When you're out in the street, you're unprotected, and also you know.
You don't need any more. Did I misunderstand? You only want one? Goodness.
Oh no, he's taking photographs. He's gonna have one.
Right.
I'll take an ice water though.
Oh sure. Okay.
That's yours.
Oh, it's mine. Okay. All right.
I thought it was coffee. It's tea. But I actually thought it was coffee she gave me.
Oh.
It's great. I love it.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So the weekends you're open to a lot of, you know, it's a bit like if you're open in life, the sun comes in and all the good stuff happens.
Yeah.
But also the bear comes in and shits on you.
Yeah.
You know, so it can be very tough.
Yeah.
But again, in education.
Yeah.
You know, baptism of fire.
Yeah.
And that guy at the beginning of Once, the guy who steals my money in the film, that was a guy that used to do that I knew. And junkies, because on the street you meet everyone. You know who the pickpockets are, you know who the whores are, you know who the drug squad are.
Yeah.
You figure them all out. Busking was a very exposed living.
Yeah.
You know, but I loved it. Best education I ever had.
Sounds fantastic.
Hung out with poets, hung out with musicians, hung out with like rock stars.
Yeah.
Met everyone. The funny thing is, if you stand still on any street in the world for long enough, every person in that city will pass you by.
It's true. It's true.
And if you spend 4 or 5 years busking a few hours every day, you're going to meet everyone.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing.
Yeah.
Most people won't know shit, but you know, you're gonna notice.
Who did you meet busking? What rock stars?
I remember busking one day. I was busking a Van Morrison song, and Van walked by, and he didn't give me a hand. But,
has he heard You're Into the Mystic? Which was played at my wedding, by the way.
You know,
thank you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I don't know if he's heard it. I don't know. I can't say. But I did play with him once.
You did?
That's a whole story, though, which I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
When I was busking, one of the people that I became very friendly with was Marina Guinness.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the family, the brewing family.
Mm-hmm.
And she knew I love Van, because she heard me singing it.
Yeah.
And she said to me one day, she said, Van is having his 50th birthday party at my house. Why don't you come along? And I was like, what? Come along. Take it easy. Don't make a big deal of it.
Yeah.
Bring your girlfriend. Bring a bottle of porridge. Treat him with respect.
Yeah.
It'd be lovely. Come. So, I overjoyed took the opportunity.
Yeah.
Went out to her place. Her place is way outside the city. I had a scooter and I drove out with my girlfriend. It was raining and we got there and we got in. And I thought it was going to be like a big party. It wasn't. It was like 20 people. And it was Van sitting with, there was just a few friends, very, very relaxed. And Van was sitting there and was like, introduced everybody, sat down, we ate some food. I'm just being all quiet and sort of being in the background. This is amazing, sitting here with Van Morrison.
Yeah.
And a couple of drinks were had. And then someone came into the room we were in and said, everybody come on into the kitchen, Van is singing some songs. Van was there with Jerry Lee Lewis. And Jerry Lee and Van are standing at the fireplace and both singing like beautiful old country songs. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then at one point Van says, anyone want to hear a song? I request. Singing these beautiful songs, and he says, "Any request?" I'm a huge fan, but I didn't know whether I should sing it or whether I shouldn't. No one else was saying that, so I said, "Van, Hungry for Your Love." Hungry for Your Love is a song. Hungry for Your Love is a song off one of his early 80s albums.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's 78. Wavelength, great song.
Mm-hmm.
But fairly lesser known song. Anyway, the band Hungry for Your Love. He looks at me and says, "You don't know me." I turned away and I walked outside.
Yeah.
I walked outside and I was kind of freaked out. I didn't have the first thing I said to him. I just got BAM!
Yeah.
So I went outside and I was kind of like thinking I'd head off, get out of the way. It's really heavy shit. I just shouldn't have come here. Freaked out, never meet your heroes, all the rest.
Yeah.
And Marina came out. I said, Glen, come on, don't let that get in the way. Come back in, have a good night. Relax. Just birthing a bit drunk.
Yeah.
Let him out. So I went back in and I stayed at the back of the room and just enjoyed listening. And at one point again he says, anyone else want to sing a song? And Marina said, Glen will sing. Glen, come on, Glen. And I was like, oh no. Freaked out. And I sort of went up and he handed me the guitar, stood up and walked out of the room. I was like, oh, fuck. The only guy I really want to hear me here is just left. I'm young and full of my own.
How old were you at this point?
18.
18? Oh my gosh.
So I sang a song. It went okay, it was lovely. People asked for another one, so I sang a second one. When my second song, band came in. He sat down with his back to me at the table. And I finished my second song, I was fucking freaked out. He turned around and he said,
I love your movie. I watch it all the time. I tell all my friends about it.
brilliant. Thank you. Very kind. Thanks very
I'll
much.
tell these guys about it now.
Nice.
Max, you don't have stuff like that.
What are you looking for?
Oh, AA batteries. This thing eats batteries like nobody's business.
I don't know how great they are.
Oh, they might be better than what I have. So did he come back in?
He comes back in, he sat down and was back to me. And I finished my second song. And he spun his chair around and he said, what did you want me to sing? And I was like, I said, Hungry for Your Love. And he says, do you know it? I says, yeah. He said, well, play it. And he just put me on the spot. And thank God I know this song. So I played it. And he's basically like, listening to me. And about halfway through the song, he starts going, yeah, and then sing that little harmony with me. I'm blown away. I'm fucking freaked out.
He's singing hard.
He's singing his song, and he's singing harmony, and me singing his song. And then finished that song, and he says, "All right, come on." I was like, "Where?" He says, "Come on, follow me." He brings me upstairs.
Yeah.
It's an old, beautiful old house. We go into one of the rooms. It's empty. Sits me down on the couch. He says, "Right, sing." He sits down opposite me. He's had a few drinks and it's his birthday. And he should be downstairs mingling. And I start playing one of my songs. He listens to it. He says, "Right," takes the guitar, says nothing. "What do you want to hear?" And I was like, "Really?" I says, "Well, will you play me Hungry for Your Love?"
Yeah.
He plays it. Hands me the guitar. And so he's not saying anything. I'm like, well, I assume that means. And he plays the second song. Takes the guitar. "What do you want to hear?" And we passed the guitar, and I'm not kidding you, for like 4 hours. We passed the guitar. I ran out of songs after an hour and a half.
4 hours?
Yeah, we passed the song.
Till like 6 in the morning.
It's like the sun was coming up, and I remember his girlfriend at the time, Michelle Rocket. His girlfriend at the time, she came into the room at the end and was like, "Mom, we have to go. Come on, it's time." And he's like, "Great." And he stood up, didn't say "at" to me all night, except playing. He sang, and I got to walk. Like, this is the amazing thing for me. But anyway, I'll say, finish out. Stands up, comes over, pats me on the shoulder, nice voice, nice songs, blah, 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 and walks out. And that was it. That was my encounter. That was all he said.
Yeah.
Nice voice, nice songs, blah, blah, blah.
He said blah, blah, blah.
That's what he said. And he left. But what was amazing for me, the gift that I'd been given that night, was that I got to sit this close. It was probably actually a little closer because we were sitting very close. I got to watch his hands.
Yeah.
I got to watch his neck. I got to watch how he lifted his head into notes.
Yeah.
I got to watch how his body leaned into chords.
Yeah.
I got to see Van the way no one probably gets to see him.
Yeah.
Except maybe his girlfriend or his kids or whatever, people close to him. But I got to see him. I got to see a master up close, and I got to digest every inflection.
Amazing.
To use or not use
in
my own palette of experience. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, too.
I went from being definitely, but I went to being a proper apprentice that night.
Yeah.
I actually managed to completely absorb.
Yeah.
The education was profound.
Sure.
Because it was up close and personal with a master.
And he had his guard down. He wasn't on stage for 3,000, 5,000 people. It was just you and him.
And it would be a lie to say that we both hung out and had a great night. There was no talking. And it started off pretty rough. But in a way, the way he redeemed himself was so incredible.
Wow.
I got to spend time. And I think he's aware that was the gift.
Yeah.
Like, he just sat there, and I think he understood that as a young guy, here's the shit you're going to be checking out. Fuck the talking.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I've heard from other people that that's kind of how he is.
Have you met him since?
I've met him a couple of times since.
Does he remember that night?
Never referred to it again. And when I say I've met him a couple of times since, I've bumped into him a couple of times since and shared one or two words.
Sure.
There was a time when Bob Dylan was playing.
Would you like another Guinness?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Do you need more food, or you're set?
Oh, great, thank you very much. There was a time when Dylan was playing and Van spotted me at the gig, and he says, Glenn. And I was blown away that he remembered my name. He says, come on, have you ever met Bob? And he pulled me backstage into Bob's dressing room. And I was introduced to Bob Dylan by Van Morrison. And as a kid, you know, being 22 or whatever I was at the time, was like, you know, it was breathtaking.
Yeah.
You know, because I actually had met Bob, weirdly. It's another weird story. And I'd actually done gigs with Bob at that point. And Bob was like, yeah, I know. And to see Van, this is not even part of the interview, but because it sounds like I'm totally bragging here, but to see Van's face, when he was like, Bob was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. How did you meet Bob Dylan?
I met him. I was busking again.
Yeah.
I was busking, and he was in Dublin to do a gig, which of course I was going to.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge fan.
Sure.
He's kind of my number one.
Yeah.
Always was. As I've gotten older, anyway, that's irrelevant. He was my number one. And he was staying at this hotel just by chance, the Westbury Hotel. Mm-hmm. And I was busking on the street, and someone came around and goes, Bob fucking Dylan just got out of a van around the corner. And I just ran, left the money in my case, everything there, ran around the corner, and Dylan was getting out of a truck and was just hanging out, going into the hotel. And you know, I did this stupid thing. I just took a harmonica out of my pocket and I handed it to him because I had a harmonica. Like, what a stupid thing to do, you know, give Bob Dylan a harmonica. But he took it and he was like, hey, thanks. And that was it, he was gone. But the weird thing was, that was it. 2 weeks later, I was rehearsing with my band. And it wasn't 2 weeks later, it's a while. Maybe it's a year later. It felt like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm just going to... Oh, that's all right, sir. I was rehearsing. Cool. I was rehearsing with my band, and he was rehearsing next door with his band. Okay. Because in the rehearsal place we were in. Yeah. Because they were beginning a European tour, and so it must have been a couple of years later anyway. Yeah. And we finished our rehearsals. The drummer and bass player had gone home. We were running over one last song, and we didn't know he was rehearsing next door. Okay. All we were told was, there's someone next door, don't annoy them, stay out of the way, blah, blah, blah. We didn't care. It was, you know, we thought it might have been you too. Yeah. You know, which, not that we didn't care, but it didn't mean, it was like, give them their space, you know, that's what we would do. But at one point, Colin, our violin player, just looked at me like someone had just died, and we turned around, and standing in our doorway was Bob with his hood up, smoking a cigarette, and he just said, sounds good, you know. And I walked up to him and I just said, Bob, and I shook his hand, and I was totally freaked out. And he was very, very, very nice and to give us his time, because he could have just walked away. Yeah. Shook my hand and I said, Bob, I said, meeting you is what it must have been like when you met Woody. And I think I must have said the right thing, because Bob was like, oh, Woody, man, Woody was amazing. You know, he's like, I never got to hear Woody play. And Bob Dylan started talking to me about Woody Guthrie. And I knew just enough about Woody through being a Dylan fan, to hold a conversation with him, just about enough. Yeah. And I remember the security guy just coming up the hallway really fast. Like, I remember it was like a guy who had kind of fallen asleep on the job and he wasn't taking care of Bob. And I remember Bob just going like that. And I didn't really know, but later on I kind of figured that was Bob saying, no, it's okay. Yeah. These guys are all right. Yeah. We chatted for like what was probably a minute and a half. I mean, I don't want to turn it into anything it's not. But we talked for a minute and a half, mate, about Woody Guthrie, and he took off. Mm-hmm. And I shook his hand, and I ran home, and I told my mother I shook Bob Dylan's hand, and it was unbelievable. And the next morning, we got a phone call to the same rehearsal room. We weren't even rehearsing; it was just a phone call came to the rehearsal space, and then they gave Bob Dylan's manager my number, and he rang up and he said, you must have impressed Bob somehow. Do you want to come to London tonight and open up for him? So it was amazing, you know. And he was like, can you get a flight? Yeah. And if you can get a flight, you can do the gig. That was basically how we put it. Of course, we went into the airport and explained our situation, and they just cancelled 5 people off the flight. Do you know what I mean? Because when we got to, it was the Hammersmith Apollo, we walked on stage, and you know, it was amazing because, you know, and I said, yesterday I was rehearsing with my band in Dublin, and Bob Dylan appeared in the doorway, and we chatted for a few minutes, and here we are. This is amazing.
How are we doing time-wise, guys?
We should get outside soon. Yeah. But it's 5. I think he said, say 5:10. He was going to pick you up.
swallow down.
Yeah, sure. So Dylan was a hero. Did you have like guitar heroes? Was there anyone whose guitar playing you were like
Well,
you had on the pin, like the Dylan of guitar playing?
as a kid, all I was interested in was Angus Young.
Really?
Yeah. My confirmation name.
From ACDC?
Yeah. You're not a Catholic, are you? Are you Catholic? Are you Jewish?
Armenian.
Armenian. Excuse me.
Armenian Orthodox. So.
Right. Well, I'm a Catholic. I mean, I was born a Catholic.
Yeah.
I'm not interested
Sure.
in all that.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up a Catholic, which means you make a confirmation, which is like this kind of, it's almost like your bar mitzvah or your,
Yeah.
but you take on a new name, a saint's name or whatever.
Yeah.
But when I was, so what would have been like 9 years old. Anyway, my confirmation name is Angus.
You picked that.
This is my God. I guess if I had guitar heroes, it would be kind of him, Dylan,
Yeah.
because his guitar playing is insane.
Yeah.
Completely underrated.
Yeah.
Dave Gilmore in the Floyd,
Yeah.
amazing player. Maybe Peter Green,
Yeah. Sure.
he's playing, man. JJ Cale.
Yeah.
These are all the people that I really adored.
Sure.
You know.
So what's next for? You've got the New Swell season. What's next for the Frames? 20 years next year, right?
Yeah.
Is that weird?
No, it would be weird. It would be weird had we not had the success we've had in the past couple of years. But
Yeah.
now it feels great. Now it feels like a celebration.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if it had been 20 years of just going around and just gigging every time and just always trying to every little bit of news,
Yeah.
it might have felt like there's a time to hang it up.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully, it feels like a celebration.
Yeah.
I guess we ought to do a tour or something.
Got it. How did you get signed to Island?
Busking.
From busking.
Marie Guinness, the girl I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend for a period of time was this guy Denny Cordell, who actually appears in the Woodstock film. He was the guy who signed Joe Cocker and the guy who signed Tom Petty.
Yeah.
And he produced like Whiter Shade of Pale, that song.
Yeah.
Nights and White Satin. Anyway, I don't know. But he's
More photo shoots. It happens all the time here in Seattle.
he was the girlfriend of, and then he introduced me to Chris Blackwell. I was 18.
Wow.
Chris Blackwell signed me
Sign you or as the Frames? Okay. Yeah.
as a busker.
Okay.
And that was the beginnings of my.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I said, I really would like to have a band.
Yeah.
And it was weird because then I went back all my busking friends because, 3 of the guys in my original band were guys who I used to busk with.
Yeah.
I'll give this to you guys whenever you're ready.
Thank
Here you
you.
go. Give you that.
Okay, be right back.
Sure.
So I went to my busking friends and said, listen, I've got a record deal and I'm not going to make a record.
Yeah.
And they were all like, yeah, fucking brilliant. So we went and made a record and called ourselves the Frames. So that was the beginning of it.
Wow. That was my conversation with the late, great Glen Hansard. As hopefully you know, right after we did this interview, we went to go take a few photos under the Pike Place Market sign where all the buskers were. And Glen ended up actually busking with a local Seattle musician who had no idea who Glen was. Glen made him a whole bunch of money. We took photos and I pulled out my primitive flip video camera. This is predating DSLRs and iPhones and all that good stuff. And took some footage, shaky, albeit, of Glen and this other guy who's playing harmonica. And so that was the very first video we put on our YouTube channel. That is the very, very first. If you search oldest, that was the beginning of the Fretboard Journal's YouTube channel back before YouTube was really a thing. Thank you for tuning in. If you've made it this far, I commend you. I know the audio wasn't meant for podcasting. And I hope to see a whole bunch of you at the Fretboard Summit. Please let me know if you do come. I'd love to meet you. And if you enjoyed this show, please share it with your friends. The more the merrier.